another week of El Boogie and the Bell. I am the Bell, of course, here with El Boogie. El Boogie, how we living?
Man, I'm great, man. We had a crazy weekend of college sports. Well, actually, no, college sports and in the NFL, both crazy weekends. So, I had a ton of fun watching it. Happy New Year to all the viewers. This is our first show of 2024. I'm ready to
Happy
get
New
into
Year.
it, man.
Let's get it. Let's get it. We're just gonna go ahead and kick it off. We got a lot to talk about with the NFL and with college football. So we're gonna start with our trivia, of course, and we're gonna start with El Boogie first.
All right, my question to you, since we're coming to the end of the regular season in the NFL, I'm talking division winners. So, what are the five NFL teams with the most division titles in NFL history?
The Packers,
The Packers are not in the top five.
the Steelers for sure,
The Steelers are tied for number one at 24 division titles.
the Patriots, easy.
And the Patriots, that's also another easy one. They're actually in third place. They have
Wow.
22 division titles. I mean, they were good for the Tom Brady years, but outside of that, hasn't been very good.
Let's go. Just lifetime of dominance. I'm surprised the Packers aren't in there because they always. Yeah, I'm surprised the Packers aren't in there. Let's do. What is this? The division. In my lifetime and probably through history. Give me a division. So I got AFC.
So, so the next three teams are all in the NFC.
Oh,
Um, One of them is definitely going to surprise you for sure.
it's not the damn Cowboys.
The Cowboys are tied for first, 24 division
Wow,
titles.
that's a lot of disappointing seasons to have become the division title and make it to the Super Bowl. Tied
For
for first.
real.
Okay, let's go with the Eagles. The Eagles share their fair reigns throughout these
The E-
years.
the Eagles are not in the top five.
Um, Giants.
Also, not in the top five. Let me give you a hint. Think NFC North and NFC West.
NFC West. It's not gonna be the Rams. It's not the Arizona Cardinals.
Nope.
Divisional title. I'm not burning out, not yet. Let's do the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh no, man. Oh no. So see, now I have to give it to you. There's only one more team left in the NFC West. It's the San Francisco 49ers. They are tied
Wow.
for they are tied for fourth with 21 division titles.
I
And
can't
so the
think of I
last
can't think of like our younger years where the 49ers were popping, but maybe I'm just
I
not thinking.
think older, man. Don't forget they do have
Yeah.
five Super Bowls, so they've had some dominance.
Okay.
Um
Let's
so now
do
the last one's in the NFC North.
let's do
And you already guessed the Packers, and it's not the
oh
Packers.
let's go what's it called? Chicago.
No,
Through
man.
the years, the Vikings have the
No,
Chicago beat with divisional titles.
they do. The Vikings have
Wow.
21 divisional titles.
Jeez. Get the Vikings creeping up. I just think of like the Brian Urlacher era and then like 80 Bears and everything, you know what I mean? Like I think of so many good Bears teams.
I mean, everyone always talks about the 85 Bears. It was 85. They were great. I think like
I was
86, they were also good, but like it wasn't a
it,
super
it
long
wasn't like
streak.
a long term era of like the Bears being on top.
Exactly.
Well, fair enough, fair enough. Well, mine's is gonna be a different one this week. This is actually gonna be a super interesting one. El
All
Boogie.
right.
In 2015, the Denver South Rebels played the George Washington Patriots. Yeah, this is gonna be a good one. And this
Oh
actually
man.
so happened to be a season high for number 55, El Boogie Simone.
Oh my god.
In
All right,
this
all right.
football game where he got his most amount of tackles playing against the Bell, center versus nose guard, how many assisted tackles and how many solo tackles, and what does that total to on tackles on the game? I have the stats
First
up
off,
currently on Max Preps.
this is the craziest stat to have, like just for any. And you said
We
this
didn't
was a
make it
season.
pro, but we do got stats, people.
That was a season high in that
That was
game.
your season high, believe it or not, versus
It's
me.
probably a sad total. Let's see. Assisted. I
It's a
don't
better
know.
total than you think.
Assisted. I don't know. 4. Am I
Let's
close?
go down.
All right. 2.
Let's go up.
All right. So it has to. So I got 3 assisted tackles, and so the rest is solo tackles. Did I get 1?
Yep. Season high.
Uh, 3.
Let's go up.
Damn. Okay, I was balling that game. All right. 5.
L Boogie had it. No. Go down.
Oh, also 4. So I have 4 solos, 3 assist tackles for a total of 7 tackles in that game.
Season game high was 4 solo tackles, 3 assisted, 7 total tackles, .5 sacks. That's interesting because I don't think I gave up any sacks, and we didn't really pass that much. But that
Half
was
a
actually a
sack.
game that me and the Boogie played against each other, just to give you
So
guys a little more context on how animated his look was once he figured out what I was gonna say. So
such a crazy thing to look up on Max Preps. I can genuinely say I don't think I've ever gone back and looked up my high school stats.
when it said 2015, I was like, oh, it's
And that
2024.
so that was senior year too. That was our
Yeah,
senior
to
year.
be a
Yeah. Man, that's what we were good that year, man. We won 5 games in a row, and then it was all downhill after that.
But people, just remember, my team, Denver South, we did win 50-18. Let's just keep that in context.
It was that far. I thought we at least got to 20. No.
Yeah, it was 50. And I thought so as well. I thought it was 20, but it was 50-18. But
Uh,
anyways, enough of El
okay.
Boogie and the Bells patch. We're here for the NFL and the college football and a couple other things that we're going to get into. We're going to go ahead and get into our weekend parlays. We're going to start with El Boogie's. Give it to me.
All right, so going to the NFL, I'm sticking strictly with money lines this week. So starting off, I got the Indianapolis Colts at plus 102 to beat the Houston Texans. I got the Tennessee Titans at plus 190 to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this is the real stunner. This is the real upset I'm calling. I got the Miami Dolphins, who are at plus 140 to beat the Buffalo Bills. So
Where we're
overall, that
playing?
puts
Buffalo?
they're playing in Miami.
Mm.
So Miami does have home, but they are the underdogs. Um, so yeah, so the total odds on this 3-leg parlay is plus 1305. Turn $10 into 130.
And
The
do we have this is the game for the division, correct?
It is the game for the division. So Miami, if Miami wins, they win the division. They're number 2. Buffalo, they go to 2. But the thing is, if Buffalo loses this game, there's a chance they may not make the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah, if Buffalo loses and Pittsburgh wins, Buffalo's out.
Alrighty. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I got a quick 5 for everybody. I'm gonna take the first 5 games of the weekend. I have Baltimore Ravens, who are ranked under, to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers took the biggest win, which is still having a positive season, but I don't think that they expect much more out of the season. Of course, the Ravens are going to be having a lot of people sit. I just think that the Baltimore Ravens are going to win this going into the playoffs. The guys who need to prepare, the guys who are the supporting cast for the main starters are going to have to show a lot in this game, knowing that a lot of starters are going to be sitting or resting for the playoffs. I think that they take this game. I think Pittsburgh. I think Mike Tomlin proved what he needed to prove, where he's still a great coach and he's going to have a positive season, even if his team's not up to par. So I think Baltimore wins that game. So that's an easy plus 168. I got Houston Texans beating the Indianapolis Colts. think this is a big shot for them to make it into the playoffs. I think this rookie quarterback takes them to their absolute height, which is the first round of the playoffs. And that is huge for the Houston Texans because we all know what they've been through since Deshaun Watson's departure, and even the last year he was there. And then Saturday's game, and that's going to be a minus 120. Saturday's game, we're going to do the first game of the day. We're going to go with the Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans Saints. I got New Orleans Saints at minus 168. I think this game doesn't matter at all, so it's going to be an easy, quick pick for New Orleans Saints to finish out their season. New Orleans Saints, I think they're going to make it. I don't think Atlanta's playing for much. Yeah.
Hey, Atlanta's still alive. They can still make it technically.
They could be. Not to me. Let's go Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals. I believe the Cincinnati Bengals are going to win this football game. I think it's fair enough. I don't think Joey Flack does what he got to do to get the job done. So that's what I got. And $10 can win you a crazy $94. So very similar. But that is the L Boogie and the Bells parlays of the weekend, the very first weekend of the new year. Once again, Happy New Year. And we're going to go right into our second segment, which is going to be a huge one. Take it away, L Boogie. Let's talk about it.
All right. We just had the biggest weekend of college football this season with the national championship semifinals. So, Bell, I just want to get your reactions, man. We had two great games. Everyone was surprised that Alabama lost to Michigan, except for me, because I called it. And I told y'all Michigan was going to win, but that's whatever. But a lot of people were shocked Alabama lost that game. Michigan pulled it out against Texas. So I just want to get your reactions. And really, I want to ask you, man, how did Alabama lose that football game that everybody thought they were going to win?
For me, it's for both teams. It was the defense came to play, both sides, right? Which makes me fear for either of these teams moving on to play Washington. Where was the explosive plays? Like we had a quarter, Jalen Milroe, 16 to 23, 116 yards. Where were the explosive plays that made us feel like this is college football? Like this is like they are going for it, like we saw, and of course we're gonna get into it in the Washington game. Like where was these crazy moments? I didn't feel them as much until Michigan came back with their last drive to get back in, and then of course their drive to to win the game. So those two last drives for them were humongous. But to start the game, both teams were a little bit shaky. We started with a pick that got pulled back. We started with 3 and outs. We started, you know what I mean? But they both ended up with a touchdown that finished the quarter. I just didn't feel the explosive offense out of Alabama at all. It felt dry all game, if you ask me. And they did come back in the third or second quarter? It was the third quarter. It was the fourth quarter they came back with a solid drive to kind of close the game. But it just felt dry. Like it didn't feel like I didn't see the explosiveness until he's number 4 for the Wolverines, right?
Who, the QB?
The little tiny guy.
Oh, the running back?
Yeah.
Yeah, Blake Corum, that's his name. Yeah.
When he showed up, that's when I felt it, and that's honestly who ended up winning the game. When somebody showed up and made the real play. Shouts out to the receiver. You remember that catch? It was number 1 made a catch.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was
so nasty.
Yeah.
That was so nasty. That was probably the play of the game, but number 4, huge. Blake Corum. I'm not gonna act like they don't say his name every single play. But yeah, I just felt like Michigan ended up with the more explosive plays, and I feel like Alabama just played dry all game. Like just, like real solid offensive drives, explosive plays. I just didn't feel it, and it shows in the score, 20-27. It wasn't a high offensive scoring game. It was actually a lot of 3 and outs mixed in there. So it was interesting, but I just think Michigan won off of explosive plays towards the end of the game. What about you?
I think, like you said, the defenses came to play today. That's why there were no explosive plays. I think both secondaries played pretty well. Um, I think everyone was surprised by how well Michigan's pass rush did. They got to Milrose 6 times. So he got 6 sacks on him and a bunch of, almost sacks. And I don't think anybody expected that pass rush to, kind of push Alabama's O line around like that. So I really think it was the Michigan front that won them that game. And their offense just kind of, scored points as needed, did what they needed to do. I think their quarterback, JJ McCarthy on Michigan, I don't really think he had a great game. Um, I mean, his numbers looked good, but when you watch the game, like some of the throws were kind of really out there. Like the great catch you were talking about, that didn't need to be that hard of a catch. It was a great catch because the ball wasn't really thrown that well. Um, so yeah, I think they won that game. The quarterback did enough, but he wasn't great. Blake Corum, he had 2 touchdowns. I think he's like leading in touchdowns on the season for college football. So like he's like a little guy, but he's performing. So yeah, I think really it was the defense playing tough for Michigan and the offense just being able to hold on.
Yeah. How do you feel about the last play of this game? Because we could talk about the last play of both games for this entire show, but let's sum it up quick. How do you feel about the last play for Alabama to score? We had about what 6 yards to go. 4.
No, it was closer. It was like I think 4. Yeah, it was like 4 yards to
Yeah,
go.
he made it feel
And
like it was 12.
that last call, I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. A QB draw to end the game. I don't for 4 yards. If it was 1 yard, 2, maybe I see it. But even with a big guy like Milrow, you can't expect him to get 4. But what I did notice though, like watching the replays for that play, the O line they messed up, but there was a hole to the left. Like I think they had the right guard pull around the edge. There was a hole that if Jalen Milrow had taken like another second to like kind of read the field and read the blocking, he could have seen that and maybe gotten to the end zone. But he just went straight down the middle on it. So that I don't
I
know.
just
I
think
would I would have rather seen them do like an option play where he could run or pass it, not just a straight QB draw.
it says you're asking somebody to get 4 yards to save their college football championship hopes against a team that's had no issues getting to him all night. So horrible, horrible play. But maybe they thought they saw something that I couldn't, and obviously they didn't. So moving on to the Longhorns and Washington Huskies. I got a lot to say about this game. What were you thinking?
Oh man, that game was like the exact opposite of Michigan and Alabama. But yeah, the Washington actually both offenses came to play. Um, a lot of passing, big numbers for both quarterbacks, doing pretty good. Michael Penix from Washington, that dude. I think he is like raising his draft stock with every game he plays because like he's airing it out. I think they had a stat where like him and Patrick Mahomes are the only 2 quarterbacks to have consecutive 4,000-yard passing seasons in
Mhm.
college at least. So yeah, I think he has a lot of talent, and I mean he's the real catalyst for that team. The defense, the defense, I think they can perform good. We saw them perform really well against Oregon, but this game it was just all offense, offense, offense.
So this game, like you said, was truly just all offense, offense. What won it for me was just accuracy from the quarterback. I think Michael Phoenix was just like Penix, excuse me. The accuracy, like the ball was in the right place. Like he made it easy for his tight end. Like the ball is thrown directly to the hands of his receivers, and when you make it that easy, it's like it's really hard not to score the ball. Like it's really hard not to. It does give you memory of like not memory, but it gives you like resemblance to a Patrick Mahomes where it's like, how did you get it there even under pressure? How did you get it there under that? Like why? How did you know that it was going to be perfectly right over his shoulder? And I just think accuracy truly won it. And when you're very accurate on these very important drives, he just came up huge. And even when they got 3 and out, he threw, and not even 3 and out, even when it got to third down, he accurately got them all the way down to the field. so they could settle for those end of the game field goals. And I'm just like, he got him there just based off of the perfectest throws. And I just think he balled out. And no shine away from Texas. I think Texas played hard. I think Texas played fair. I think Texas played all the way till the end. I just think that the better quarterback won the football in the entirety. And I just think that he was special. That was special. Like,
Yeah.
how accurate and how easy he made it for them to catch it and keep going, or catch it and fall down. Like, that was unbelievable. So I mean, that was an amazing performance, and I think Washington is going to give some huge issues to what happens next, which I believe takes us into our next topic. Who do you got? Washington versus Michigan.
So I think both teams. I mean, whoever wins, I think it's going to be great story either way, and a very well deserving team. I really want to say that Michigan is going to win this game just because their offense is so amazing. But I thought about the context for this Michigan team. Jim Harbaugh, as he started his career at Michigan, he lost to Ohio State like 4 or 5 years in a row. Um, and so he purposely went and built and designed this Michigan team in order to beat Ohio State. And if you look back a couple years, Ohio State had a really explosive offense. They had C.J. Stroud, they had Garrett Wilson, they had Chris Olave, all people who are in the NFL now. But the Michigan is built to stop explosive teams on offense. So I think for that reason, their defense, and we saw their secondary pretty much locked down Alabama. They didn't really pass for anything. So I think their secondary is going to come up, perform, slow down that offense, not stop the Washington offense. They're going to slow them down, and and their offense, Michigan's offense, is just going to be tougher. It might be a run heavy game, but I think they're going to put up more than the 27 points they put up against Alabama. So I think Michigan's going to win it. It's going to be a close game. I see it being like a 36-30 kind of game, but I do have Michigan taking it.
If I have Michigan winning the game, and so I think this game is literally Michigan's defense versus Washington's offense. If you could stop that man from throwing accurate passes, from the receivers having just being in the right spot and messing up his timing on getting the ball out of his hands, or maybe his scrambles, or make less accurate throws, I think Michigan wins this game with no problem. But if they struggle even a little bit to get to the quarterback or to disrupt anything about how accurate he's been passing, I think this is not a walk in the park for Washington at all. We're talking about the national championship game, but I know that Washington. I mean, I know Michigan does not want to get into a shootout with Washington. So if Washington could keep their quarterback in a good position to throw accurate passes all the way down the field, drive after drive, I don't think Michigan could possibly keep up with that. I don't know how much faith I have in Washington's defense versus Michigan, but I know Washington is ready to shoot shot for shot, touchdown for touchdown, 3 points for 3 points. I either see a high scoring game, or I do see Washington getting shut out because Michigan has shown against the highest ranked kids on the offensive line that they're ready to go to get in the backfield and get that quarterback. So I think that's gonna call it all. If they could get to that quarterback and disrupt him, I think Michigan wins this game easy. If they decide to shoot out with Washington, I think Washington wins with no problem because they're very comfortable doing it. So with that, I want Washington to win because I want to see him do more amazing stuff. And I do believe that even under more pressure, he's still going to get the ball where it needs to go. So I think I'm right in the Washington train, man.
Okay.
That game did a lot for me. That game did a lot.
Hey, I'm not mad at it. I think if Washington does win it, I think they deserve to win it. I think it is like you said, it is Michigan's defense versus Washington's offense. I think it's gonna come down to turnovers. If Michigan can force turnovers, then I think they can win it. But if they can't even get Washington to turn the ball over, that offense is gonna score too much and too frequently to lose the game. So but I don't know. Did you watch the end of the Texas Washington game? Washington almost gave it up to Texas. Like they turned over the ball close to the end zone. Like they almost gave it away. So I don't know if that shows that they're undisciplined or whatever. So That's one thing about Michigan. Michigan's disciplined, so I don't know if something crazy like that could happen.
We're gonna see. I think they had to make it a little interesting for us. I'll just leave that there. I think they did, but yeah, they did definitely almost make that final drive. So now, before we even move on, how do you feel about the last play of the football game?
In the Washington game?
You all remember?
Oh wait, the Texas quarterback, he threw it just like ridiculous. Like he was like not even trying to hit his receivers.
It,
I
it was bad.
it really questions his decision making in that and his situational awareness. It's like, dude, you need to take a shot for
Yeah.
the end zone. Like you need to
Yeah.
do it. And the last like 3 or 4 plays, he was just kind of throwing it all over the place. It didn't really make sense.
Yeah, I think it was bad. So I mean, as far as both teams, they both Texas and Alabama have to live with that for the rest of their season. That one play and the most important play, the last play of the game for their season, they have to live with that going into next season. So those are heartbreaking for both of them. But moving on, we're gonna switch gears to the NFL, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you call it, Boogie. What is it?
All right, to the NFL. We are at the last week of the NFL season. A bunch of teams are fighting for playoff spots. So, hey, Bill, I just want to ask you, which teams do you think will make it into the NFL playoffs? And I'll start by saying which teams are already in. So, on the AFC side, the Ravens are locked in at number one, the Chiefs are locked in at number three, and the Browns are locked in at number five. Those won't change regardless of what happens this weekend. The Dolphins are sitting in the number two position, but they do play Buffalo. So whoever wins that game will take the number two seed. And then on the NFC, or no, we'll just start with the AFC. Actually, out of all the AFC teams, so teams that are still in the hunt that don't have their spot secured, we got the Dolphins, the Jags, who could somehow still, you know, wind up in a wild card spot, the Bills, the Colts, and the Texans and the Steelers are still technically alive. So out of those teams, who do you think are going to take the last three spots that are available?
So I'm curious for this number 6. So the Bills make the playoffs no matter what, correct? Or do
No.
they
So
put it out for the
if
Jag?
if the Bills lose and the Steelers win, then the Bills are out.
Okay, I don't have the Steelers. Oh, I see. Oh man, I want the Bills to make it in and get that second seed. The Dolphins dropped to 6, correct?
They would drop to six. Yeah.
Browns stay to 5. I think most realistically, I think the Bills are going to go ahead and take 2. Dolphins drop to 6, which is a super turn of events. 11-6 season doesn't call for 6 plays, barely making it into the playoffs. Like how tough is the AFC? Um, in a dream world, I would have loved for the Jaguars to make it. They just had too many bad games, like, and not even bad games. Like you guys are just getting bad. Like it's we want a season where the Bills are in and the Dolphins have to prove to us that they could win big games because not only are you about to lose out on home field advantage, you're oh yeah, that's what you're gonna lose out on. You're potentially about to lose out on home field advantage. So how can we even trust you to win those big games when you haven't even proved it as much this season? And you just got blown out. I want the Bills to win that. So I got the Bills. So I got Ravens at 1, Bills at 2, Chiefs at 3, Browns at 5, and I got the Dolphins at 6. NFC, of course, we got the 49ers sticking it out. Damn, Eagles dropped to 5. That's their Super Bowl chances there.
Well, one of those teams, either the Cowboys or the Eagles, has to go to five. I think either one of them can still. I think if the Cowboys lose and the Eagles win, then obviously they'd go to two.
I don't trust either of them. I don't trust the Eagles versus the Giants. And the Cowboys ain't did nothing to make me believe I'm gonna trust them against Washington. But they might stick around where they are. Does anybody sneak in The Rams play San Francisco, so let's talk
The
about this.
Rams are locked in, so the Rams are already gonna get a playoff spot regardless.
So they don't. The Bucks don't triumphant the Rams if they win and the Rams lose.
No, because the Rams are in the same division as the Niners. So the Niners are locked in at 1. They're the division champs. So the best the Rams can get is 6th. The worst they can
And
do is
they're
7th.
locked in.
They're locked in. They're going to the playoffs.
Oh, the Bucks are competing for a division.
Yes, that division is still open. That's why the Falcons and the Saints are still alive because one of them could still win the division.
Why am I so
So
confused looking at it?
the
Nuts.
NFC South is really crazy right now.
So who has the NFC South right now?
It's the Bucks right now. They are the 4 seed, and uh, if they win this weekend, then they will win the division. And they're playing against
Go
Carolina.
Bucks, man.
So
We're pro Baker Mayfield. He's for the culture. We want Baker Mayfield to win. We want Baker Mayfield to do something, man. Packers, we're good on you guys this season. We're good on you guys this season. Seahawks, we're good on you guys this season. Saints and Falcons, like we're good on these guys. But the Bucks, that boy Baker, I would love to. I think he's gonna give the most interesting matchup in the playoffs, especially if he gets home field advantage.
yeah, he would get home field advantage, but if they do win, they're gonna play the 5 seed, who is gonna be either the Dallas Cowboys or the Philadelphia Eagles. I wouldn't want to play either of those teams in the first round, but it is at home, so
I'm 100% on an Eagles versus Bucks game in Tampa Bay. That sounds like a bundle of fun. So that's what I got. Yeah, I want the Bucks to do this, and that Bucks and Eagles game I want to happen. I want the Cowboys to prove to everybody that they can't do it, even if they're in the best position possible. And everybody else is pretty solidified. Shouts out to the Rams.
yeah, the Rams play the Niners this weekend, and I think both teams are resting starters because the game literally doesn't matter.
So they'll literally just replay each other, right?
Not necessarily. They may in the postseason, but as far as like
I think
playoff
it's still
seeding,
1-6. Oh, I'm
1 and 6.
silly, of
No, no,
course.
no.
Two, yeah, excuse me.
2 and 6. Yeah.
Pardon me, Boogies. All right, what do you got? What's your biggest factor?
I do think the Bucks are gonna take the NFC South, so that really only leaves one more playoff spot. Um, I think the Seahawks can steal it because so for the Seahawks to get in, the Packers have to lose to the Bears. I think Justin Fields is going to have a statement game going into the offseason. So I see the Packers losing, Seahawks winning. Seahawks are going to be in at a 7th seed, and that'll be the NFC all settled out. So no major changes on the seeding. In the AFC, for some reason, for just chaos sake, I really want the Jaguars to lose to Tennessee so that they end up dropping. They may get a wild card spot at that point, but in the Colts, if they win, they'd get the division. So I don't know. That's just for chaos sake. But I do see the Bills. Even though I want Miami to win, I do see the Bills winning against them. So the Bills would be the 2. Dolphins would drop down to 6. And then that just leaves the 7th seed. That 7th seed, it's either going to be the Colts or the Texans. And they play each other
The
actually.
Bills going from like 5-6 to what potentially 11-6.
Yeah, no, they really caught fire coming down the back half of the season. So I mean, good for them. The Broncos beat them. That's all I know. But they've been playing really good football. But yeah, I think that Colts and the Texans, who do play each other this weekend, I think that's going to be a playoff game essentially. A playoff game for the 7th seed. That's what I see.
That's true. It'll be lit. All right. Super duper early Super Bowl predictions based off of the landscape of what you're looking at right now. We discussed every team that's going to get in. Believe's going to get in. Some interesting topics. It's super early. Who you got as your powerhouse teams to win it all?
All right,
To
heading to the
make it,
Super Bowl.
to make it at least.
To make it to the Super Bowl, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I'm joshing you. No,
Browns are
I
going to
see.
Cleveland.
I mean, hey, Cleveland's defense, I feel like they can catch a team slipping, but I don't see them making it to the Super Bowl. I do have the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're gonna win out in the AFC. They're playing their best football. Um, I can see the AFC Championship. I think it's gonna be a Ravens Bills AFC Championship. Both of those teams playing really well. Um, so I think that's gonna be the AFC Championship, and the Ravens are gonna win that game. On the NFC side, I don't really have faith in the Cowboys. They've shown time and time again to not shine in the biggest moments. So I don't have them winning the conference championship. I think it's going to be a Niners. I think it's going to be a Niners Lions NFC championship, and the Niners are going to win the game. So we're going to see a battle of the number ones, the Niners versus Ravens in the Super Bowl.
Okay. Okay. I have the Baltimore Ravens winning because they're simply the most consistent team 1 through 7. Whoever seven's gonna be, whoever six is gonna be. 5 out of 5, 3 and 2. Number 4, we got the Jaguars. We don't have to include them. I think it's really a game between the current 2, 3, and 5, which is the Dolphins, Chiefs, and Browns. I don't think the Bills come into Baltimore and making too much noise as well. I think Baltimore Ravens are gonna make it to the Super Bowl. I think this is Lamar Jackson's year, playing just as well, if not better, than his MVP season. I think they have a well constructed team. Let's hope that the injury report doesn't affect them. I think that one's pretty solidified. Now, the interesting one is the same for me, the NFC. I don't know where the Cowboys fall off, but I don't think they fall off early. I just don't see them going to the NFC Championship because I do see the Lions doing it. I see the Lions. I could envision the Lions making it to an NFC Championship game. And I almost for sure know it's going to be the 40 against the 49ers. 49ers only got one to go. You know, that one to go and you're there is your one to go and you're there. I do see the Lions taking 2 games, making it to that, and I think so. I honestly believe it. Now, I want to say the Lions, but I do have to agree with the Boogie and believe that it's going to be the battle of the number ones based off of the way that these teams are constructed, who they have on it, how they've sustained a good amount of health. I think it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens versus the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I think as of right now, as we stand today, that's kind of the matchup, and that's how it will turn out. I think the only thing that can get in the way of both of those teams making it to the Super Bowl is health, injury. The last couple seasons, Lamar's been injured at the end of the season. This is the first time he's been healthy through December, going into January in the past couple years. And the Niners, I mean, they have just honestly some of the best players in the NFL on that team, but you lose a Christian McCaffrey, you lose a Brock Purdy. We saw that last year. That team is definitely can fall apart essentially. So
That Christian playing quarterback.
right. But yeah, I think as long as both the teams stay healthy, I don't really see them having any major hiccups on their way to the Super Bowl. You want to give an early Super Bowl winner prediction, hey Bell?
Oh, be more.
Be more all the way.
For Lamar.
Okay, be more all the way. If it is that matchup, I am gonna go the Niners. I'm
Oh,
gonna
party in San
I
Fran, huh?
know that might be a hot take. I get it. I get
Little
it. The
Santa
Ravens,
Clara
the
fun, huh?
Ravens, the Ravens just smacked the Niners something disrespectful, but I think that's part of the reason. This will be a revenge game. The Niners are gonna come. The Niners are gonna come better schemed for the Ravens. It's hard to beat a good team twice in the same season. That's a very hard task to do. So that's why I picked the
That's
Niners,
how it
man.
goes. Alrighty, man. I think that wraps up another episode of Boogie and The Bell. We would like to say Happy New Year to everybody listening. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will be back next week.
Peace. Everybody.